up our porch decor from spring decor to some summer decor. So I'm gonna quit my gabbing, let's jump into it, and let's do some DIYing on a budget. Yeah, it's non-Dollar Tree and it's still budget friendly. Let's get to it. Once upon a time, I used to keep stock of these Dollar Tree plaques. I've since kind of cut down on my craft supplies because it's spring and I've been doing some cleaning, but these make for a great blank canvas for making decor signs. So on the back side, because it is a blank canvas and there's not a design that I need to cover up, I'm going to give it a nice good coating with some Mod Podge. Taking a scrap piece of burgundy fabric, I'm going to lay that over the Mod Podge, give it a second coat, which is really going to adhere it onto this plaque. I'm going to let it dry. Once it dries, it's going to stiffen up that fabric. So when I go alongside of it and I cut the excess fabric off, it's not going to fray. It's going to give me a nice clean edge to work with. I thought burgundy was a great color as I guess a backdrop to adding some burlap. You know me, I love my burlap. So when I can find an excuse to add it to a DIY, I stay true to who I am and what I like, and that's what I do. If you don't want to use burlap, you can use another fabric. If you don't want to use fabric and you want to use paper, scrapbooking paper, you can do that too. Just get creative and make this DIY your own, because that's really what DIYing is about. So I'm gonna go ahead and Mod Podge the burlap over the fabric. Now some may say, why did you bother putting the burgundy? Well, I put the burgundy in the back because burlap, you can see through it. So instead of painting it, and I had a bunch of scrap fabric, I thought it would be perfect. And so it will ever so slightly come through the burlap. I'm going to use a ton of Mod Podge for this DIY. I've got this burlap ribbon that was also in my stash that I am now going to Mod Podge over the burlap that I just attached to this plaque. Just stick with me, trust the process, because this is going to be a great DIY. So you can see the burgundy through the burlap. Now, again, when you apply that Mod Podge, you want to be generous with it because burlap frays. And so the more stiff it is, the cleaner the cut you're going to get on the edges. Now on that elevated strip that I placed down the center using the burlap ribbon, if you don't have burlap ribbon, you can just use another piece of burlap. But I liked that the edges were finished. That's why I used it, and I've got a ton of burlap. Go figure. I'm going to take some of Waverly's Maze, love this yellow, and I'm going to paint that strip because who doesn't love painted burlap? Okay, so as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, change of plans. I'm thinking that the yellow isn't going to work. So I'm going to go in with some of Waverly's Pumpkin, add a little bit of dark brown to this orange to kind of rustic it up a bit, kind of mute it out. By adding brown to a color, you can really just kind of mute out the color and take away its brightness and really just kind of give it an older rustic look. And I just love those colors. I'm a earth tone person. And so, yeah, I like to add brown to a lot of my colors. So I'm going to go over the yellow because I think this color is going to work a bit better with what I have in mind for this plaque. These flowers you can find at Walmart. They're about $2.88 a piece. They feel like paper, kind of look like paper, but they're not. They've got this plastic stem on them, and they did have leaves that I removed. I'm going to start off by placing a healthy amount of hot glue here on the back, and I'm going to place it here in the center of my soon-to-be garden flag plaque. In this strip of brown, the yellow would have never worked, so I'm glad I switched up the color. I'm going to cut the stem in half, place it here on my plaque. I tell you, Sunflowers scream summer to me. I just love them. I planted a bunch of them and have some that are actually growing in my yard. I'm going to use the leaves that came with this flower and place it just like so. You see where I'm going with this? And look at how stinking cute that has turned out. Dollar Tree's got some burlap ribbon. I think that this will finish this plaque off nicely, giving it a more finished look. It's those fine details that make all the difference when DIYing. Because this is a garden flag, it needs a pocket to hang from. That is an easy addition, using some more burlap and just kind of folding it in half and adding it to the top with some hot glue. And there we have it. Let's go take a look outside and see how this looks on a garden banner hanger. Ah, yes, I love sunflowers and burlap. For this next DIY, I will be using this double-sided 3-foot stand. Yep, 3-foot stand. You can find this at Michael's around this time every year, this spring. They go on clearance for about $10. I picked up a bunch of them. I'm going to be using some of Waverly's paint in the color of maize. This is a color that I haven't used in a while, and it's resurfacing. I feel like it screams summer. So I'm going to give one side of this double-sided stand a good couple coats of this paint. Yep, double-sided means that we're getting two for the price of one. We get to make two signs using one piece. I'm gonna incorporate some burlap into this sign because I'm kind of making a matching set of decor from the garden banner, and it's just gonna kind of be the theme for these DIYs. So I'm gonna add this burlap to the center of this sign with, some Mod Podge, get it good and adhered on. And this is actually gonna help preserve it because it'll be outside. Instead of using vinyl or wood letters or stickers, I'm going the route of using stencils. I love stencils. I think that they're a great alternative to all of the things I just listed. And they're reusable and they're inexpensive and everybody can buy them and keep them. And again, like I said, reuse them. When applying stencils to a decor piece, you can use painter's tape. If you're gonna go the painter's tape route, you're gonna wanna use a sponge dabber. I think in general, using a sponge dabber to apply the paint is the best route to go altogether anyway. You don't wanna put an excessive amount of paint on your sponge, and you wanna go in the dabbing form, and that's going to cut down on any bleedage that happens when applying the paint on top of the stencil. I have found in my years of using stencils that I like to use a Loctite spray adhesive on the back of the stencil to place it onto the DIY as I'm applying the paint, and that really cuts down on bleedage as well. For the first couple letters, I didn't have any spray adhesive, so I tried to use the painter's tape, ended up picking some up and applied it to this stencil, and this just makes it a lot easier. And if you use the lightweight adhesive, it really cuts down and leaves no residue on your DIY. Before I move my stencil, or remove it, I guess I should say, you want to make sure that the paint is good and dry. Again, this is going to give you a cleaner, nicer outcome. So I'm going to use my heat gun, and you can see that once I lift it, I've got a perfect letter, and I am spelling out the word summer because this is a summer themed DIY. I have not lost my love for the stitching look, and so this DIY, I am going to add some black stitching just to kind of frame it out, finish off those edges, and yeah, just add some personality and character to it. There are 3 things I try to add to a DIY: texture, character, personality, and dimension. Dollar Tree has these hello signs that are attached to these wood bases. They are easily removable just by taking out a couple of screws, and this is going to add some dimension, some depth to this sign, so it's not just a flat piece, which then in turn is going to add character to it. These galvanized pieces from Dollar Tree can be a bit pesky to paint. If you're using a paintbrush, you're going to get brush strokes. The paint isn't going to go on evenly. And so just again, by applying it with a sponge dabber, but in this case, we are going to be generous with our paint. It is going to give you a thick, even coat in just one coat, and it's going to add texture to the wording, and you're not going to get any of those brush strokes. And we can't forget the stitching on this either. I'm going to use these wood blocks that you can get from Dollar Tree. They're by Crafter Square. I'm going to attach these to the back of this hello sign, and this is going to make securing it to my sign a bit easier, or actually doable. Yeah, I need you to take a look at this giant, gorgeous sunflower. Again, at Walmart. These were a small fortune at $4.88 a piece, but they are so worth it. These are huge and just gorgeous, and I could not pass them up. And so, yeah, I'm going to use these for this sign because I just needed them in my life on a decor piece. I'm going to keep all the leaves, just removing them from the stem. I'm going to cut off the back there. You want to hot glue it when you do that so your flower does not fall apart. Yeah, that happens when you cut that base off. And I'm going to attach a couple of these to this sign, just adding a pop of color and more sunflowers to it. Because why not? Because we can. And that's what we do here. Because of the size of the flowers, I wanted to get them placed first before I actually put the hello metal piece on my sign. And so here we have a fun hello summer porch decor piece that screams summer, and I love it. Now these flowers, the petals, I guess, look a little unruly. So if you want to flatten them out, straighten them out just by adding a bit of water to it, it softens up the paper, the fabric, whatever that is, and makes them more pliable. Is that the word I'm looking for? Well, it just makes it so you can fix it. And let's take a look at my summer decor piece. I love this piece. Now for this next DIY, I have a ladder on my front porch that I want to make 3 DIYs for. So I'm using that round plaque that you saw and more of Waverly's Maze paint because these are themed DIYs, and I'm going to give this round plaque a good couple coats of this paint. And although this is a theme, these DIYs may seem the same, but they're gonna look different because I just love the idea of a set of things that I can take out of a bin and put on my front porch, and it's all cohesive, it all goes together, and I just love that idea. So I added the burlap to the center of this, and again, cutting off those edges once that Mod Podge is dry is going to give you a nice clean cut edge so your burlap doesn't fray. We don't want fraying burlap for this DIY. The Mod Podge again is also going to help preserve it outside so it stands up to the weather and the heat. Once I've got that done, we're gonna add some embellishments. I did add some stitching, didn't think you needed to see me apply that again. Then I headed on over to the Dollar Tree months ago, and this was a welcome sign that I actually had in my stash. So I'm gonna remove the twine, and again, this is gonna add the depth and the dimension to this DIY, so it's not just a flat piece. And this welcome sign is gonna get a good coating of some dark brown, I think it's burnt umber paint, it might be. And oh no, it's this Cafe Nior. Okay, anyway, yeah, so it's gonna get that paint. And these are always just a real fun piece to paint, aren't they? You just wish you didn't have to paint it. Maybe they already came painted, or maybe you wish you had a can of spray paint when it comes to a piece like this, because yeah, it's just easy to do, but we're gonna do it because the payoff is gonna be great. And this piece was only $1.25, so we put the work in and we make something great out of it. I like to keep these silver dollar floral picks from Dollar Tree in my stash of floral picks because they're a great addition to DIYs. It's a subtle green, it's a perfect color green, and it adds a pop of color. And so, yeah, I'm gonna add just a bit of greenery here to the top here because it needs something up there. Because what am I gonna add up there? Well, this is a theme. And well, this too needs some sunflowers, only these are kind of a Gerber daisy. Found these at Michael's. These packs, you can find them in the $2 to $3 bin. And when I find ones in the color that I like to pick them up and keep them in my stash because they're easily added to a DIY. And yeah, and for this, it's gonna go perfect. So once I got that top done, I'm gonna go ahead and add my welcome sign there to the burlap. Maybe add a bit of twine to the top, and this piece will be done. Since this is a ladder, we need a total of 3 DIYs. Gonna use this wood home plaque, again, from Dollar Tree. And you see where I'm going with this, adding some Mod Podge, which means I'm probably gonna go the route of, you guessed it, adding some burlap to this. Now, there are letters that I'm going to need to cut out, so I'm going to be extra generous with my Mod Podge because it's gonna make cutting out those hollow spaces a bit easier. We are good and dry, so let the fun begin. Taking a straight edge razor, you want to use a good new blade for this stuff. If you use a dull blade, one, you're probably going to hurt yourself because your blade isn't going to glide nicely, and two, it's not going to cut as clean as you want it to. It's going to make the job harder than it needs to be. And so this is probably one of my favorite tools to use when working with Mod Podge and fabric. And so, yep, I'm just gonna cut this out. It's gonna take a minute, but I'm gonna do it because I love burlap and I wanted this covered in burlap. So yeah, I'm doing this too. I really love stitching. I think it adds so much to it. If stitching isn't for you, add dots maybe. But you've got to finish off and frame out those letters because when you don't do that, it just kind of looks like something's missing. And again, I'm going to finish these edges off with some of Dollar Tree's burlap ribbon. I wanted the backs of these letters to have a corrugated metal. I had 2 hearts. I'm sure that there's better ones you can use. So these hearts, I'm going to paint them with the pumpkin, the cafe, and the maze to match my color scheme. I've already kind of placed them where the letters are so I know where to paint. So each letter is a different color, I guess, if you will. And again, I'm sure that there's a better piece you can use to use on the back of these. I'm just using what I have in my stash and I'm going to make it work. Using some hot glue, I'm going to outline this heart with that, and I am going to glue it to the back, and you will see that nobody will be none the wiser that they were the galvanized corrugated hearts, but rather they just look like galvanized corrugated letters now. I feel like this is missing a little something. Had one of these left, so I think that I will add a sunflower to this piece as well. Let's go take a look. We are down to DIY number 3 for this ladder, our last summer DIY for now. I took and cut out some triangles, I guess, to make a banner, a mini banner. You know what? The more imperfect they are, the more perfect it is. And so there at the top, I'm going to add more of that burlap ribbon just to kind of finish it off using some of Dollar Tree's wood letters. I went ahead and painted these with the maize yellow, and I'm going to add a letter to each triangle banner spelling out the word summer. And because it's a banner, we need a string, but I'm not going to use string. I'm going to use twine because this was my excuse to add twine to this, and this piece is going to look stinkin' adorable when it's done. I love DIYing my own porch decor because I can do it to suit my decor style. Look at how fun this piece is. It screams summer. I love sunflowers, and look at how beautiful it looks on my porch. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy crafting on a budget. Stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy, but most of all, stay positive, please. And bye for now, everybody.